Dear Esther, I sometimes feel as if I've given birth to this island. Somewhere between the longitude and latitude, a split opened up, and it beached remotely here. No matter how hard I correlate, it remains a singularity, an alpha point in my life that refuses all hypothesis. I return each time leaving fresh markers that I hope, in the full glare of my hopelessness, will have blossomed into fresh insight in the interim.
Nice little Potter. So I haven't got this friend, like, was it yesterday? Got this game from a friend. Got this game from a friend, right? On chemistry. Alright. Got this game from a friend. I had no idea what this is about. I heard it was a lot about atmosphere. So should I go up and down? I'm going up. It's just like the best choice. I can only walk, can I? Yeah. So weird. Oh! As if we can do ninja style. Oh! Oi! Internet parkour.
Donnelly reported the legend of the hermit, a holy man who sought solitude in its most pure form. Allegedly, he rode here from the mainland in a boat without a bottom, so all the creatures of the sea could rise at night to converse with him. How disappointed he must have been with their chatter. Perhaps now, when all that haunts the ocean is the rubbish dumped from the tankers, he'd find more peace. They say he threw his arms wide in a valley on the south side, and the cliff opened up to provide him shelter. They say he died of fever 116 years later. The shepherds left gifts for him at the mouth of the cave, but Donnelly records they never claimed to have seen him. I have visited the cave and I have left my gifts, but like them, I appear to be an unworthy subject of his solitude.
Unworthy subject of his solitude. It's kind of harsh word, isn't it? The only thing about this game is like you cannot run. So if you go the wrong way, you have to go like 1 hour to get back. Look at the island. It's like almost real life. Oh, which way?
When you were born, your mother told me, a hush fell over the delivery room. A great red birthmark covered the left side of your face. No one knew what to say, so you cried to fill the vacuum. I always admired you for that you cried to fill whatever vacuum you found. I began to manufacture vacuums, just to enable you to deploy your talent. The birthmark faded by the time you were 6, and had gone completely by the time we met, but your fascination with the empty and its cure remained.
I'm just trying to go up and up and up. Vacuum. I didn't understand that.
The mount is clearly the focal point of this landscape. It almost appears so well placed as to be artificial. I find myself easily slipping into the delusional state of ascribing purpose, deliberate motive to everything here. Was this island formed during the moment of impact? When we were torn loose from our moorings, and the seatbelts cut motorway lanes into our chests and shoulders, did it first break surface then?
Have to keep walking. It's really a different game experience. I don't try like.
When someone had died or was dying, or was so ill they gave up what little hope they could sacrifice, they cut parallel lines into the cliff, exposing the white chalk beneath. You could see them from the mainland or the fishing boat, and know to send aid or impose a cordon of protection. Wait a generation until whatever pestilence stalked the cliff paths died along with its hosts. My lines are just for this, to keep any would-be rescuers at bay. The infection is not simply of the flesh.
What? No, sounds a bit weird. Just, have you ever tried playing Pen Nubra or something like that? Amnesia. It's a bit like Amnesia, The Darkest Descent. But I feel a bit like the same with infection.
They were God-fearing people, those
narrator.
shepherds. There was no love in the relationship. Donnelly tells me that they had one Bible that was passed around in strict rotation. It was stolen by a visiting monk in 1776, 2 years before the island was abandoned altogether. In the interim, I wonder, did they assign chapter and verse to the stones and grasses, marking the geography with a superimposed significance that they could actually walk the Bible and inhabit its contradiction?
Yeah. If you say so. Oh, look! A ship! And the light tower! I believe the light tower didn't do what it was supposed
Dear
to do.
Esther, I met Paul. I made my own little pilgrimage. My Damascus, a small semi-detached on the outskirts of Wolverhampton. We drank coffee in his kitchen and tried to connect to one another. Although he knew I hadn't come in search of an apology, reason or retribution, he still spiraled in panic, thrown high and lucid by his own dented bonnet. Responsibility had made him old. Like us, he'd already passed beyond any conceivable boundary of life.
Here we go in here.
I find myself increasingly unable to find that point where the hermit ends and Paul and I begin. We are woven into a sodden blanket, stuffed into the bottom of a boat to stop the leak and hold back the ocean. My neck aches from staring up at the aerial. It mirrors the dull throb in my gut where I am sure I've begun to form another stone. In my dreams, it forms into a perfect representation of Lot's wife, head over her shoulder, staring along the motorway at the approaching traffic in a vacuum of fatalistic calm.
I know what that looks like. Oh, you silly man. Is that it? There's nothing I can do in it, just look at it. Alright. Okay. Then off I go. It's kind of beautiful with the atmosphere. I really like the sky. That where the black cloud is going over. You can not see the sun completely, but you know it's there. Really like that. That is amazing. That little creek. Wash my feet.
The vegetation here has fossilized from the roots up. To think they once grazed animals here, the remnants of occupation being evidence to that. It is all sick to death. The water is too polluted for the fish.
Oh.
The sky is too thin for the birds, and the soil is cut with the bones of hermits and shepherds. I've heard it said that human ashes make great fertilizer, that we could sow a forest from all that is left of your hips and ribcage, with enough left over to thicken the air and repopulate the bay.
Like back to nature. Is this like a mini Stonehenge? Bit chemistry on it again. What's that sound? Left or right? I'm gonna go left now. While I'm at it. I believe the main goal is going to that tower we saw in the beginning with the beacon on. I'm not entirely sure. This is getting crampy now. No, from every game I played, Dead Space and stuff like that, expect something to jump down your head, up from the side, or come up the ground right now.
Dear Esther, I have now driven the stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over 21 times. But although I have all the reports and all the witnesses, and have cross-referenced them within a millimetre using my Ordnance Survey maps, I simply cannot find the location. You'd think there would be marks to serve as some evidence. It's somewhere between the turn-off for Sanford and the welcome brake services. But although I can always see it in my rear-view mirror, I have as yet been unable to pull ashore.
But all these ships, the lighthouse must really be doing a terrible job. This actually reminds me a bit of Isle of Man in Great Britain. The way the cliffs are, the way the island is, landscape. Oh, cars like. You should actually go there if you have the chance. You should go there and see. They also have TT in the summer, which is quite amazing. And if you don't know what TT is, it's like they have this island and they drive around on motorcycles as fast as they can. And every year, I think it's like someone dies every year because they're going too fast. One or two dies every year just for a race. Would you lose your life for a race? One race. Just one thing that means that much. I think that is too big of a sacrifice for anything. I'm going to do it now.
There must be a hole in the bottom of the boat. How else could new hermits have arrived?
Did he? Something. I can't see it. What's that? No, Z, that's what I mean. I went to a dead end, I saw that little thing, something on the boat, yeah, but now I have to walk back. Slowly. The ocean. Isn't that amazing?
I had kidney stones and you visited me in the hospital. After the operation, when I was still half submerged in anesthetic, your outline and your speech both blurred. Now my stones have grown into an island and made their escape, and you have been rendered opaque by the car of a drunk.
The car of a drunk. Okay. I feel a bit like he's talking riddles. Oh, I've got the wrong side of the fence again. It's a hole in the ground. Well, I might as well just go check it out. Probably just a hole in the ground.
Is this what Paul saw through his windscreen? Not Lot's wife looking over her shoulder, but a scar in the hillside, falling away to black forever.
A little farmhouse.
I've begun to climb, away from the sea and towards the centre. It is a straight line to the summit, where the evening begins to coil around the aerial and squeeze the signals into early silence. The bothy squats against the mount to avoid the gaze of the aerial. I too will creep under the island like an animal and approach it from the northern shore.
I'm gonna creep around like an animal. So you think that bacon, oh Jesus, I could eat that now. But that beacon really is my goal in the end.
The bothy was constructed originally in the early 1700s. By then, shepherding had formalized into a career. The first habitual shepherd was a man called Jakobsen, from a lineage of migratory Scandinavians. He was not considered a man of breeding by the mainlanders. He came here every summer whilst building the bothy, hoping eventually that becoming a man of property would secure him a wife and a lineage. Donnelly records that it did not work. He caught some disease from his malcontented goats and died 2 years after completing it. There was no one to carve white lines into the cliff for him either. Inventory. A trestle table we spread wallpaper on in our first home. A folding chair. I laughed at you for bringing camping in the lakes. I was uncomfortable later and you laughed then. This diary, the bed with the broken springs. Once asleep you have to remember not to dream. A change of clothes. Donnelly's book, stolen from Edinburgh Library on the way here. I will burn them all on the last morning and make an aerial of my own.
We're going the right way now. I feel like sightseeing with my parents. They always did like this beat, like, we have to see everything! You can't just run!
He left his body to the medical school and was duly opened out for a crowd of students 21 days after his passing. The report is included in my edition of his book. The syphilis had torn through his guts like a drunk driver, scrambling his organs like eggs on a plate. But enough definition remained for a cursory examination, and, as I suspected, they found clear evidence of kidney stones. He's likely to have spent the last years of his life in considerable pain. Perhaps this is the root of his laudanum habit. Although its use makes him an unreliable witness, I find myself increasingly drawn into his orbit.
Really like kidney stone, doesn't he? I've heard it should really be painful to have kidney stones. It's something you don't want to try out for yourself. Like some other things, like being burned alive. I wouldn't try that out. New cave. Man cave. Goodbye, light. There's the lights in here, there has to be somebody on the island. Unless it's the character himself who's done it. Checking this out. Oh, I'm not going down there, am I? Oh, no. Am I not going that? I'm going this way then.
Did Jakobsen crawl this far? Can I identify the scratches his nails ruined into the rocks? Am I following him cell for cell, inch for inch? Why did he turn back on himself and not carry through to the ascent?
This is beautiful. What video game it is. The amount of work they had to put in this game is amazing. Nook! More chemistry. Can I go out here? No. Alright, I'll just follow the path. is shining on the roof.
It was as if someone had taken the car and shaken it like a cocktail. The glove compartment had been opened and emptied with the ashtrays and the boot. It made for a crumpled museum, a shattered exhibition.
That reminds me of Goatsy, really. Or somebody spreading his butt cheeks. Chemistry. That is nice. Whoop. I've no clue what this guy's talking about all the time. The narrator. I feel like he's talking with us all the time. More candles. It's funny because the candles make me feel safe. Because somebody needs to light them. And it shouldn't be too far go. It has to be done. It's rooms. Oh. Doom effect. Okay.
If the caves are my guts, this must be the place where the stones are first formed. The bacteria phosphoresce and rise, singing through the tunnels. Everything here is bound by the rise and fall, like a tide. Perhaps the whole island is actually underwater.
Should we go that way, around, or should we just go up? So we're going to follow the chemistry. I think they're called dropstone. What thing?
This is a drowned man's face, reflected in the moonlit waters. It can only be a dead shepherd who has come to drunk drive you home.
does he mean, like when you go down the water and look up? That's how you see the world. I don't know. Oh, something you can read. I can read. Maybe. Behold, is it Damascus is taken. He's getting mad now. Jesus Christ. Damascus is taken. Send Prince over and over and over again. Now, away from being a city. Away from being a city, and it, what's it? Scale be rumorous need. Meep. I have no idea. If you know what it says, write it in the comments. Fungus. Is it roots? Mushrooms? Reminds me of the Beatles song, Yellow Submarine. You have to jump further down. No, that cannot be true. I have to go. That's why. No! What's going on? Can't see anything. I thought I was going back. Apparently not. Where am I? If this was real life, I would have shat my pants. Falling that far down, that long down. Or just falling down. That's the point of no return now, can't go back. And then back to the service. And it's night. That's cool. Hello? Is anybody home?
The moon over the Sanford Junction, headlights in your retinas. Donnelly drove a grey hatchback without a bottom. All the creatures of the tarmac rose to sing to him. All manner of symbols crudely scrawled across the cliff face of my unrest. My life reduced to an electrical diagram. All my gulls have taken flight. They will no longer roost on these outcrops. The lure of the moon over the Sanford Junction is too strong.
It's so weird. beautiful little candles. My guiding lights.
I returned home with a pocket full of stolen ash. Half of it fell out of my coat and vanished into the car's upholstery, but the rest I carefully stowed away in a box I kept in a drawer by the side of my bed. It was never intended as a meaningful act, but over the years it became a kind of talisman. I'd sit still, quite still for hours, just holding the diminishing powder in my palm and noting its smoothness. In time we will all be worn down into granules, washed into the sea and dispersed.
Is that the end? Oh, something I can recognize. A picture. I'm past the tower now. I thought that was my destination. It clearly isn't. It's so weird. That's the car.
All by the roadside, by the exit for Damascus, all ticking and cooled, all feathers and remorse, all of these signals routed like traffic through the circuit diagrams of our guts, those badly ridden boats torn bottomless in the swells, washing us forever ashore.
Is this supposed to mean a bumpy ride or something? Oh. I was supposed to see this. A light from heaven shone around H. I don't know. It's so badly written. Can I get up here? No, I'll have to go back again, of course. Ah, shortcut. I'm just thinking, how does this island get electricity? Well, let's find out.
From here, I can see my armada. I collected all the letters I'd ever meant to send to you, if I'd have ever made it to the mainland, but had instead collected at the bottom of my rucksack, and I spread them out along the lost beach. Then I took each and every one, and I folded them into boats. I folded you into the creases, and then, as the sun was setting, I set the fleet to sail. Shattered into 21 pieces, I consigned you to the Atlantic. And I sat here until I'd watched all of you sink.
Oh, that's kind of nice. But I like that. All of a sudden, a light from heaven. This is shown around him, and he fell to the ground. An eggs breakfast. Yes. Am I going the wrong way now? back. Can't swim. Cannot swim that far. Oh my god, how can I be that blind? Did you see it? I walked right past the road up. Where's that? I can zoom in. Okay. That's actually kind of embarrassing. I went right past it because I was so focused on the light and the little shit there. Here we're going up to the beacon now. Look at the lights going. Where's the moon? Oh, it's still over then.
A sound of torn metal, teeth running over the edge of the rocks, a moon that casts a signal. As I lay pinned beside you, the ticking of the cooling engine, and the calling from a great height, all my mind as a bypass.
What about that car, isn't it? That she died. Oh, there he is. Hey, what's up, dude? He's probably gonna jump in the water or something, aren't you? Isn't that a guy? Suicide for the tribe. Oh. And he's gonna turn around and be like all evil and stab you in the stomach with a big ass machete or something. I don't know. I've played too many video games to be happy.
I've begun my voyage in a paper boat without a bottom. I will fly to the moon in it. I've been folded along a crease in time, a weakness in the sheet of life. Now you've settled on the opposite side of the paper to me. I can see your traces in the ink that soaks through the fibre, the pulped vegetation. When we become waterlogged and the cage disintegrates, we will intermingle. When this paper aeroplane leaves the cliff edge and casts parallel vapor trails in the dark, we will come together.
Did he jump down? There maybe was nobody. I'm quite sure I saw a silhouette. And as he was proceeding on his journey. Yes. Must have had a quite big ladder to get up there. Riding it. All these buckets of painting. Here to Damascus. Just the same over and over and over again.
If only Donnelly had experienced this, he would have realized he was his own shoreline, as am I. Just as I am becoming this island, so he became his syphilis, retreating into the burning synapses, the stones, the infection.
It's kind of weird, isn't it? I don't know if I think it's crazy, it's just like had a different view on life. All in together.
Returning to my car afterwards, hands still shaking, and a head split open by the impact. Goodbye to tearful aunts and traumatized uncles. Goodbye to the phenomenal. Goodbye to the tangible. Goodbye Wolverhampton. Goodbye Sanford. Goodbye Cromer. Goodbye Damascus. This cliff path is slippery in the dew. It is hard to climb with such an infection. I must carve out the bad flesh and sling it from the aerial. I must become infused with the very air.
And it came to pass that as I made my journey. Okay. It really reminds me of Penumbra. A lot. So if you want a game like this, really scary, play Penumbra. This is the guys who made Amnesia. It's a puzzle horror game. How am I supposed to read that?
A gull perched on a spent bonnet, sideways, whilst the sirens fell through the middle distance and the metal moaned in grief about us. I'm about this night in walking, old bread and gull bones, old Donnelly at the bar gripping his drink, old Esther walking with our children, old Paul as ever, old Paul. He shakes and he shivers and he turns off his lights alone.
That we are with me. That were with me. Came into I came into Damascus. I made my destination, I believe so. Call for help, maybe. That's quite interesting.
We will leave twin vapor trails in the air, white lines etched into these rocks. Dear Esther, I have burnt my belongings, my books, this death certificate. Mine will be written all across this island. Who was Jakobsen? Who remembers him? Donnelly has written of him, but who was Donnelly? Who remembers him? I have painted, carved, hewn, scored into this space all that I could draw from him. There will be another to these shores to remember me. I will rise from the ocean like an island without bottom, come together like a stone, become an aerial, a beacon, that they will not forget you. You've always been drawn here. One day the gulls will return and nest in our bones and our history. I will look to my left and see Esther Donnelly flying beside me. I will look to my right and see Paul Jakobsen flying beside me. They will leave white lines carved into the air to reach the mainland, where help will be sent.
Ah. Ooh, I don't like this. Really? Oh, Jesus. What? I'm a bird.
tiny island.